and welcome to my channel. So today I'm here to talk to you about all the books that I read during the month of September and October. And I know that it's been a while, but I thought that I'd at least give you an update. I apologize for not doing this sooner. I actually listened to more books than I read during the months of September and October, so if you're interested in learning about all the books that I listened to, I will leave a card above and you can check out that video. But I didn't do bad. I read 6 books, I believe. I don't think I'm missing one, but I think I read 6 books during the months of September and October. And one of them, honestly, just put me in a huge reading slump, and that is why it took me forever to get through. I started this book in August, and I did not finish it until the beginning of October. I just didn't want to read it, and it made me not want to read anything, and it just really put me in a huge reading slump. And that book is Furyborn by Claire Legrand. I actually didn't mind the book itself, but for some reason it just really put me in a reading slump. I had to buy a new copy because my puppy destroyed the first copy, and she had chewed it up a little bit, and I actually made a video about it, but then she ripped it apart at a different time, so she destroyed it twice. So I had to buy a brand new copy, and that kind of irritated me that I spent double the amount of money on this because I'd buy 2 copies. I loved the idea of the story. I loved that we had 2 characters that were 1,000 years apart. And I don't know what it is exactly about it that I didn't like. It's not that I didn't like it. I am curious as to what will happen. I enjoyed the book the further I went into it. So by the end I was curious and I was a little bit more invested, but I thought some things were just weird. And I thought some things were confusing. They needed to do a little bit more with it. Claire Legrand needed to do a little bit more with it to explain it. So I thought that the trials that Raelle had to go through were really interesting, and I liked that. I thought that added some action to the story, but I think that this needed a little bit more world building in order to explain it. I definitely got confused, especially jumping from one girl's perspective to the other girl's perspective, and I hated some of the choices that Elena made, or I think that's how you say it. I was like, what are you doing? Stop doing that. But I loved her little brother as a character. I thought he was really sweet and endearing, and I loved some of the supporting characters. I thought that there was a really interesting connection at the end between the 2 worlds, but I thought that was predictable from the beginning. I thought that that's the connection that would be there from the beginning. I kind of guessed when we first learned about this character that there would be this connection. So overall, I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5 stars. The fact that when I finally finish it, I won't finally, it tells me that it wasn't really good. I don't know that I will continue reading this. If it was a duology, I think I would, just to know, but I don't know that I can invest enough time for a trilogy. So I'm not sure if I will keep reading it. Let me know if you read it and what your thoughts were. It seems like people are on one end or the other, and I'm kind of in the middle. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I certainly didn't want to have to buy 2 copies of it. So this was the first read. My next read was To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo, and this is a Little Mermaid retelling, except Little Mermaid is not a mermaid, she is a siren. And I actually really enjoyed this story. I thought it was predictable. You kind of knew what was going to happen. I did like how the climax of the story all came together. I thought that was good, but you knew right from the beginning what would happen, just obviously too because this is a Little Mermaid retelling, so you kind of knew how it would end. But I really enjoyed it, so I'm going to give this one a 4.5 stars. I love that there was a slow burn love story in this. I love slow burn romances. I also loved the main character, Lyra. I thought that she was badass, and I just loved how she never apologized for who she was, and from the beginning she was pretty honest. She had made a comment about how she was there to kill him, and he just kind of brushed it off as a joke, but like, no, really, like, that's why she was there. And I thought that that was a really great quality to have. I liked that she just, you know, like, this was her take her or leave her. But I really enjoyed this one. I love fairy tale retelling, so I was so excited to read it, and I loved it. If you enjoy fairy tale retellings, definitely check this one out. And then I participated in the Charms Readathon, and for that, I read first The Wicked Deep by Shea Earnshaw, and I really loved this. This is something that I read during the month of October, not only for the Charms Readathon, but because I had saved it for October because I wanted it to help me like get in the mood for Halloween. And just look at how gorgeous this book is. I loved it too, as everyone else has, but I don't know that I loved it as much just because I had higher expectations for it because of the hype. I really did enjoy it, don't get me wrong. I'm still going to give it a 4 out of 5 stars because I thought it was a great story. There was a plot twist in it that I thought might happen, but I wasn't sure, so it did kind of take me by surprise. There was another plot twist in it that really did take me by surprise, and I loved that. I thought our main characters were good. This is about a town named Sparrow, and it is cursed, and every year these 3 sisters come back, and they take control of 3 different girls' bodies, and they each kill a young man. So 3 young men end up dying during the month of June in this town every year, and it has for like the last like 100 or 200 years or something like that. And so it is present day. And so this book focuses on a young girl in the town and then also a newcomer young man who has just arrived and how he doesn't, you know, like want to be killed. And I thought it was really good. I thought it was very atmospheric. It's a perfect October read. So if you didn't read it this year, I would hold off and wait until next year. I thought it was a great like witchy story for October. I might even read it again next year. I really did enjoy it, and it was just a really quick read. It took me like 2 days to read, maybe 2.5, and I really enjoyed it. And then I read Not That I Could Tell by Jessica Strasser, and this was a book of the month pick for what book? March of 2018. And this one is about a mom and her 2 twin children who disappear. They're there one night and they're gone the next, and no one has any idea where they went or if they went because they were kidnapped, if there was foul play. They don't know. This book changes perspectives, so you are in the eyes of a bunch of her different neighbors. And so you get kind of like a full picture of what's happening, and you can make some guesses. It was predictable. There was one twist in it that I didn't see coming, but you know that was a downside. So I'm going to give this one like a 3.5 out of 5 stars, maybe even a 3 because it was predictable. It was a really good story though. It was a quick, fast-paced read. It was a light read, I guess. There wasn't like a ton of suspense in it, but I did want to know more. I wasn't bored by reading it. I really did enjoy this. I heard that it's very similar to Big Little Lies by Liane Moriarty. I heard that there's a lot of connections between this one and that one, but I haven't read that one yet, so I'm not sure. But this was a really good story about a woman and her children who go missing. So if you're into like mystery thrillers maybe, then definitely check this one out. And also if you like multiple perspectives, and this one was done really well. I also read This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab for the Charms Readathon. I got through most of that. So for the Charms Readathon, there were 3 books that I wanted to read, and I got through 2.5 of them. So I did fairly well with that. I didn't finish This Savage Song. I had to finish that after the readathon ended, but I did finally finish that, and I really enjoyed it. This is the Monsters of Verity duology, and this was my first time reading Victoria Schwab, and I thought it was a really interesting concept. So they're in this city called Verity, and there are monsters who also live in the city, and the monsters stem from our crime. When you commit crimes, your shadow begins to like alter and take different forms, and when your crimes have reached like a breaking point, I guess, from your shadow, a monster is created. And so there are certain crimes that automatically create a monster. For example, murder. If you murder somebody, then a Malachite is created. And these different monsters are able to do different things. And so, like, there's this one type of monster, and I can't think of what it was off the top of my head now, that, like, can't leave the shadows. The Malachite can. And then you have another kind called the Korsai. And the Korsais are born of like mass tragedy. You know, hundreds of people have died, and that's what would bring a Korsai about. And the Korsai basically like suck your soul out. But they can only suck like the soul of a sinner. And the Malachi like drink your blood. And then the other one, which I think also starts with a C, and I don't know, they like eat you alive. So these monsters are pretty ruthless. And so in this book, the town of Verity is divided in two. You have the North City and the South City, and two different people kind of rule each city. So in the North City, you have Parker, and he's like the ruler of the North City, and he has a daughter named Kate. And then you have the South City, and his last name is Flynn, Henry Flynn, I think it is. And then he has a few kids, but he has one child named August. And August and Kate are about the same age. And so August ends up going to Kate's school to try to like get to know her a little bit better and see if he can get like the inside scoop. And so anyway, their paths end up crossing, and they have to like kind of fight together in order to survive. I think this is a really interesting concept about how our sins affect others and the monsters that we create, not only like a actual monster, like a fake monster though, and how, you know, our soul is corrupted because of our crimes. So I really did enjoy that. I did give it a 4 out of 5 stars. And then I followed it up and I read Our Dark Duet by Victoria Schwab. I did not start this one until November, or maybe it was the very, very end of October, but it took me a while before I finally got to it. And I also gave that one a 4 out of 5 stars. It continues on their story. It is only a duology, which I think was a perfect amount, because I think if they had continued this series, it would have just kind of like dragged on. But I really did enjoy it, and I have Our Dark Duet here. I'm not sure where I put the Savage song, but I would definitely recommend the Monsters of Verity duology, especially in the month of October, because it does have a lot to do with monsters and stuff, but it's a great fall read in general. So if you haven't checked out Victoria Schwab, that would be a great series to start with. This is the only one that I've read so far, and I hope to read more by her. But yeah, so let me know, what did you read during the months of September and October, or have you read any of the same books that I just read, or are you planning on reading any of them? I'm slowly working through the list of all the books that I want to read before the end of 2018. I feel like I'm doing a good job. I think I can get through them all. I think I've read like 5 out of the, what did I have, like 16 on there? So I'm doing well. I'm hoping that I can get through the rest of them. So let me know what you are currently reading and what your reading plans are for the rest of the year. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and I'll be back with more videos soon. Keep reading!